Day 1, the beginning. Today, a single-cell organism forms from the union of the egg and the sperm. Over the coming months, the child would develop from this barely visible single cell called a zygote. It takes around 12 hours for the sperm to reach the egg, which is in the fallopian tube. Although hundreds of sperms swarm the egg, only one will penetrate the egg's outer surface. While this process of fertilization involves a tremendous amount of activity by the involved cells, the woman is unaware of the event of fertilization as one is of the routine production of red blood cells by the system. Only a being who is above or outside the reality of the physical life can actually create and instruct the one sperm, the chosen one, to connect to the egg. Only a creative being who is not bound within the finite can continue to develop zygotes that are unique in design. You see, the designer so highly values the uniqueness and singularity in creation that one person is not identical to another, even in the case of identical twins. Day 18. The embryo's heart is the first organ that forms. It is derived from two primitive heart tubes. Between days 18 to 30, the primitive heart tubes fuse together, bend, and twist to form a simple version of the heart. About halfway through this process, the heart starts to beat. The heart, along with every other organ and part of the human body, exhibits such astounding complexity in composition and function, as well as a particular intricacy in its relationship with the other elements of the body. The probability of chance continuing to create unique complex beings or causing the accidental coalescing of factors leading up to life is vanishingly small. The fine-tuning for intelligent life defies human comprehension, therefore rejecting the attempts to explain life as mere chance or just a physical necessity. Regarding the complexity of design, J.P. Moreland, professor of philosophy of religion, says, when one realizes that the world exhibits such complexity and that at the same time this complexity can be expressed in simple terms, then this can be seen as evidence of an intelligent designer. This is because God, the designer, had a prototype that was beyond the limits and the finiteness of the human mind. Regulating abortion and committing abortion is one of the major sins that we as a nation have engaged in. Since abortion was legalized in 1973, more than 50 million babies have been killed. In a single day in this nation, around 3,000 babies are aborted. In a single year in this nation, more babies are killed than the total number of Americans that were killed in all of the US wars combined. Wow, more than 50 million babies. That's over 50 million babies that were killed just because they were born, as though they were manufactured on a cosmic assembly line. I don't know about you, but to me, that is irresponsibility just for the sake of convenience. I have personally come across so many people that are unable to have children of their own, those that would love to have just one child. In the act of abortion, an innocent life is put to death because of one's selfish tendencies. As mentioned earlier, the heart does begin to beat just a few days after conception. The beating heart, a sign of life and purpose, is sacred and should be treated accordingly. Life is not man's invention, rather a God-breathed miracle. Life is not created by human beings, therefore we do not have the power to apply brevity to life or play God with it. Human life is precious and royal with a specific timeline that only God knows and controls. So how will the history of a nation that has murdered more than 50 million babies be written? More importantly, how will God judge this horrific act? God is the highest good, the paradigm of moral value against which all actions are to be measured. It is not a moral right to abort or take the life of a child in the womb. Taking the life of a child violates the sacred trust of God. And if that trust is violated, remember, consequences are bound to follow. The concept of life is so much bigger than any one man, any church, any government, any state, and any nation. It is a matter of accountability solely between you and God, who is the author of life.
We are proud parents who are so thankful for this undeserved gift of children. As parents, we just want to tell you to think again and give that baby a chance.
Remember always that every child, regardless of the context in which he or she is formed, begins their journey in the palm of God's hands. So the message is very simple. Do not murder.
Do not abort.